The Nasdaq is clearly not bearish yet. Today we analyze the Nasdaq. However, by actually looking at a higher time frame, we are in fact perfectly able to determine exactly where the Nasdaq will head next in the near future. Therefore, looking here at the monthly chart of the Nasdaq, before we start with our technical analysis, we always have to determine the underlying trend. You can see, if we look at this beautiful big chart, that yes, starting back in the year 2000, we witnessed a crazy drop towards the downside. I would basically just call this a major sell-off, and you can see that from top to bottom, if we measure this move, the Nasdaq corrected approximately minus 80%. We saw a second major sell-off with the financial crisis back in 2008, and the final sell-off happened basically just a couple of years ago during the entire year of 2022, when from top to bottom the Nasdaq was once again correcting approximately 40%. But you can see that despite all of those major sell-offs which we have been witnessing over the course of the past decades, the Nasdaq is clearly trending higher. Especially starting back in 2008, when the Nasdaq, by the way, also just retested a substantial horizontal support back then exactly at this psychological $1,000 level. Ever since we saw this massive sell-off ending in 2009, the Nasdaq first of all established a substantial lower green support trend line. Always, as you can clearly see, when the Nasdaq retested this support trend line, we saw beautiful bullish confirmation on the smaller time frame, followed by a substantial rejection higher. We witnessed the last retest actually just this year in April of 2025, when Nasdaq was also retesting the previous all-time high, meaning that all we witnessed was a simple all-time high break and retest, which is basically just an overall bullish break and retest. And that was also exactly the reason for why back then I decided to publish a bunch of analysis explaining all the reasons for which I do expect this simple continuation towards the upside. And you can find all of this previous analysis simply on the right side of the screen. Now, if we now go ahead and actually duplicate this lower green support trend line, and we connect all of the previous upper reversal areas, you can see that we do get this upper red resistance trend line, meaning that after the financial crisis happened, the Nasdaq entered into a significant long-term rising channel and has been trending within the support trend line and the upper red resistance trend line for basically the past 1.5 decades. We only had one short-term exception here in 2021, when the Nasdaq broke for a short period of time above this upper red resistance trend line, which ultimately just led to a breakout rally, pushing the Nasdaq much higher. But you can see that we immediately fell back into this channel, and ever since, the Nasdaq has once again been channeling higher. Just following this quite long-term rising channel, I still do expect a little more continuation towards the upside. Yes, we have to keep in mind that over the course of the past couple of months, the Nasdaq rallied approximately 50%. But just keep in mind that if we see strong momentum, and we are currently witnessing a lot of bullish momentum on the Nasdaq, more often than not, this momentum just continues. Obviously, it's just a matter of time until we will see the next retracement, preferably back to this lower green support trend line. But so far, considering the fact that the Nasdaq is still far away from this upper red resistance trend line, I simply do expect the bull run continuation, and my next target is simply sitting at this psychological $30,000 level. If you enjoyed today's analysis of the Nasdaq and you found it helpful, I really appreciate if you just smashed this like button below this video. Obviously, the moment the Nasdaq actually continues with this rally and is slowly approaching this ultimate bull run price target, I will immediately update this analysis, so make sure you check back every once in a while. I will see you tomorrow with a fresh breakdown. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below this video. I'm more than happy to help you out with everything. Keep your long-term vision.